I am my own enemy when it comes to, like, I'm the biggest challenge for me is myself. Like, if anyone's going to stop me, it's going to be me, no one else, really.
Yeah.
They don't care. You can do whatever. They don't really care. It's you that's stuff.
Yep.
So yeah, that's my biggest like thing that I need to work with. It's just to do it.
People going places making me feel slow. Think I'm going crazy. I just need to know that one day I will be sure. I know what I'm.
Welcome to the Musician Secrets podcast. Today I have the amazing singer-songwriter Andrea with me. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
Why I reached out is because I found your song on a playlist called Fighting For, and I fell in love with the song immediately. Like, I'm a lyric person. I mean, as a songwriter, I appreciate good lyrics, and I just loved it. So we'll deep dive into lyrics and everything later. But I love how you kind of describe your music, and you said music for people who are as confused as I am.
Yeah, that's honestly how I feel. So that was really good.
I love it. I've never heard anyone describe their music like that before. So perfect. It does encompass like both Fighting For and your other single, Cardiac Surgeon. So I love it.
Thank you.
So my first question, or basically is for people who don't know you, because we had a little chat before, but walk me through your process of what got you into music, what got you into songwriting.
Okay.
Who are you?
Who am I?
Yeah.
So yes, my name is Andrea, and I come from Norway, which is where I am right now. And I didn't really do that much music when I was growing up. I was pretty shy. I kind of knew that I could sing, but I was never the one who was in the choir. You know, I didn't ever really, want to be in front and sing the lead, just because I was scared, and I was kind of like, I didn't really want people to know, which is kind of weird, but that was how it was. Yeah. And that lasted until I was around a teenager, really. But then when I was 16, in Norway, when you start high school when you're 16, and you're able to choose between different types of finished like programs, and there's one for music, and I just had to do that. I couldn't do anything else when I suddenly had the choice to just go to school but do music. So I did that for 3 years, and I graduated when I was 19. And then I decided to do a music degree, and I went to London, which is where I live now, except I'm not there now because of the situation. But yeah, so then I started a Bachelor of Music, and I'm on my 3rd year now doing that degree. And that's also kind of where I met people and producers and other people playing instruments and songwriters, and that made me realize that I actually really like writing songs. And that wasn't really originally the plan. I was just going to be singing and doing that kind of thing. But yeah, suddenly I was writing songs. So that brings me here. So yeah.
That's so cool, because we were talking a little bit before where you said, you were planning, or you were coming in as a like vocalist, right? You've never, like, when did you write your first song?
Okay, so I guess I wrote stuff that could be, I guess you could call songs when I was younger. Never really thought of it as songs. It kind of changed once I started getting into Logic and that kind of thing. When I started uni, because that kind of just opened up so many things for me. I was suddenly able to like get down ideas, because previously I hadn't been able to kind of remember what I'd made. Because I work very like melodically, so I can't just write down a lyric and then remember how it goes later on. I think I'm very like rhythmically built, so I'm very like know about what is the hook, what is the melody, and that kind of, when I started to learn Logic and that kind of thing, I was suddenly able to kind of, you know, get things down. So yeah, that's when I started. So I was probably, when I like really started writing songs, I was probably, yeah, I would say 19. So yeah, it hasn't been long really, but I love it. I'm doing it a lot now. So yeah.
How old are you now?
21, turning 22 soon.
Okay, so yeah, that's like not even, you know,
Yeah, it's
3-4 years, you know.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I wrote a few songs when I was younger, but I don't know where they are now. But yeah, so I fully started when I was 19. Yeah.
That's cool, because I love stories like that, because I mean, I didn't grow up in a music family, like, oh, I've been singing since I've been like 3, and you know, I've been playing the guitar since I've been like 6, and you know, stuff. And like, I didn't have that background, so I thought, you know, I can't make music because I didn't grow up with it, or you know, I haven't been doing it since I've been like a child. So
Yeah,
it's cool to hear other stories like that as well, where you're like, you know what, I kind of caught the bug when I was 19, and that's still okay, and it's still early, and it's still, you know, giving you the opportunity to do what you love. You don't have to, you know, miss out on it just because you didn't grow up with it.
I can really relate to what what you just said, because I think it's never really too late to start. I can remember when I was 16 and I wanted to do music.
Yeah.
I was kind of afraid, because I was like, well, everyone else that I know in my hometown who's doing music, you know, they started when they were 7 and they've done musical theatre and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really matter. Like, you can do it whenever you want. And you know, my family isn't. I didn't come from like a music family either.
Yeah.
I come from a family who loves music though, so that's, you know, so I've you know, I must have gotten some kind of, you know, you know, they have made me love music, but you know, no, I haven't really had that much growing up. So yeah, I agree.
No, yeah, because I just want, like, I hope just that whoever's listening, you know, you can do it too. Like, that's the entire purpose of the podcast, is so you can hear the backgrounds and the stories from all different sorts of songwriters and musicians, and hopefully you can say, you know, I can do it too. I'll grab that dusty guitar and I'll start, you know, playing, or I'll start taking vocal lessons, or start songwriting again. So I love stories like that.
Yeah, and also, like, you can, like, my process when I write, it can look so weird, like, if anyone was to watch me. See, like, you don't even have to know that much about music, but if there's a beat or a rhythm that you like, you can literally record that on your phone and then make something out of that. Like, there is so much you can do. So yeah, it's you know, anyone can do it. Really, anyone can do it.
Totally. Especially now through all like the programs that are out there, like Splice, where you can just have like an entire library of producers putting their beats and one shots and loops on there, you know, and then you have Arcade that has all the synth stuff, and like there's so much endless possibilities out there. Like, it's so much easier now, I think, to really make music on your own, or at least put a demo together that you can then send to a producer that you like.
Yeah. And that's probably my biggest tip as well, is to be able to make the demo, because I'm really not that good at using tools. I'm really bad, but I'm good enough to do my own vocals and record it and put down some MIDI piano. Like, I can get the chords down and I can get a kind of ish feel from the beat that I want to use. So I can, you know, I can really give a producer, you know, the idea of what I want him to do or her to do. In my case, I'm working with a girl, which is amazing. But yeah, so yeah, it's anyone can do it. It's great.
It's really cool. So you kind of touched upon your songwriting process a little bit. Just tell me, how do you go about writing a song? Because everyone's different. Like, for now, I don't think I got the same answer twice. I think.
No, I bet you haven't.
No.
you know, it's funny because I have this, like, it's happened so many times when I get an idea, and I usually get it in at such a bad time. Like, I'll be on the train, and then I've suddenly got this whole verse in my head, and I'm like, oh, like, how do I, oh, I'm gonna forget this. Like, oh, I don't have my stuff. I can't put it down anywhere. So I'm like, I've done this before. I've been on notes on my phone, and then I've tried to describe the intervals with words, just so that I can kind of think about it later. Like, oh, so it's a third, and then you go a fourth up from that. So I've tried to do that to remember the like the hook. It's not really worked, so that's always been a sad thing because I forget it. But yeah, no, when I when I write songs, I'm trying to get more and more into really sitting down and writing, even though I don't have an idea set for me, just for sheer like practice, really. But for me, I usually I get ideas in my head. It's usually like a hook or something like rhythmic, but usually like based on a melodic phrase that I like. And I think about that, and then I usually just open up Logic and I'll just put down, because I can kind of hear the chords in my head, and then I just literally use my finger and put down like a little MIDI, always a piano for some reason, just to get and then I just start writing, and I'm getting more and more into lyrics, but I'm definitely, as a listener, I'm definitely attracted to like the melodic aspect. So I think without even knowing, I kind of think that way as well when I write. I don't know how that is for you, but for me, that's kind of the first thing that comes to my head is just the melodic stuff. Yeah.
I just think it's so fascinating because every answer is different, and it's cool because the more you learn from others how they do it, you can like I'll go and try it out, because like sometimes you just feel stuck, right? And you're like, oh, you know, I'm kind of also in that space where I'm like, okay, I need to learn how to like sit down and write a song, because if you're just waiting for inspiration, you could have nothing happening at all, and then you'll have like one good inspiration song and then nothing, and then, you know.
I agree. And then suddenly, you know, weeks can go by and you haven't done one song, which is, you know, but I don't know, but not that I need to write a song every day. Like, I've never felt the need to do that. So I don't know, it's a weird one, but yeah, I've made myself a goal for this lockdown that we're in now, to write more songs and to just sit down, even if I don't necessarily want to. And I can't remember who said it, but I can't remember who said that, but there was some person once said that if you write a bad song, then that's great, and that's really good if you write a bad song, because then you've gotten that out of your system, and then you can go on to the next. So it's such a good thing to just write bad songs, I think. Like, that should be celebrated more, I think. Just writing bad songs, because that means you're closer to a good song, I'd say.
Music is so objective, so who says if it's a good or bad song? That's like the number one. But then number two is, I remember I watched a video by Ed Sheeran where he says, like, it's like you're opening up the garden hose or something, and in the beginning there's just gonna dirt coming out, right? And then the more you let it come out, then the clear water starts coming out. And he's like, it's the same thing with anything you do, but specifically in songwriting is, of course, your first song is probably going to be crap. The second one too, and the first 10 and 20 are probably not going to be that great either. Like my first song, I mean, I wrote it with 11, so of course it's not going to be a hit song, right? But if I never wrote the first song, I would have never written the second, the third, the fourth, my 100th song, right? So that's exactly what he's saying, is you need to just get it out of your system, and then once you've written enough bad songs, however you want to label it, all the good stuff will come, because everyone's like, oh, you can only write good songs and hits. And he's like, well, I write like 100 songs a day, and then 2 of them make it.
Yeah, exactly. It's crazy when you look at the numbers of songs that people write and then how many make it. It's just, that's how it is. So,
Yeah,
I agree.
So I mean, that's cool, because he's like, everyone thinks he's like that, just born with pure God-given talent, and that he has done nothing else. He's like, no. And he's like, whoops out his phone and he shows recording, like one of his first recording, and they're all like cringing, and he's like, yep, that's what I sounded like when I started out. And with any other job, you grow into it.
Yeah, I think people would be amazed if they saw kind of behind the scenes more of musicians and songwriters, and how much time it takes, you know, on Instagram and everywhere else. Like, you only see the very good times, and when everything is finished and
polished, nice,
polished and great. But yeah, there's so much work behind it. So yeah, it's crazy.
What this is one of my favorite questions, because I've caught myself thinking that a lot. But what do you think is one of the biggest misconceptions about the music industry? If you could set the record straight about something, what would it be?
Oh, wow. That's a hard question. I'd say the first thing that comes to my mind is just that it's not glamorous at all. Like, it's sweaty, and it's hot, and it's long hours, like that sounds horrible, but like that's true. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like it's just not free sometimes, and that would be and it's a lot of waiting.
Russian wait, that's the
yes, exactly. That's the thing. That would be my thing. I don't know, I could probably think of a lot more, but
there are a lot. Yeah,
what's yours? What do you think?
The first one that I realized, I always thought, I mean, there are so many, but the biggest one that I'm trying to communicate to people that are starting out is, you don't need as much talent as you think you need. Like, again, Ed Sheeran, everyone thinks he's so talented and brilliant, which he is. Like, obviously there's some sort of degree of talent in there, but it's hard work. Like you say, it's not as glamorous and thing as you think it does. And there's a lot of hard work involved. And the more you do something, the better you get, just with any other job or whatever you do repeatedly. So I would say, just because you think you're not talented enough, whatever that means, or you didn't grow up with that music background, whatever. All right. I think that's what I learned in my music degree when I was in Birmingham, is hard work trumps talent when talent doesn't work hard. Because those musicians that solemnly relied on their talent, they were the first ones to go, because once like the rubber hit the road, once it got intense, and you have to work the long hours, you have to put in the extra time, you're up until 11 for band rehearsals and stuff like that, they were the first ones to go. They're like, this is not worth it. This is actually work. I'm like, well, duh. And
so true, so true. I think even for me for singing, that we've, especially this year, the third year, really drilled us, and like, you have to practice. Like, you cannot rely on just oh, I got a good ear, and no, because you have to keep practicing, because it's a muscle that needs to all practice. And but so I agree so much. That's they really teach you that in uni, don't they? Like, they really
oh yeah. So tired after. There was not much time for like anything. It was just like uni work, band rehearsals, personal practice time, maybe get some food in there somehow, then you get the sleep you can, and then it just repeats every day.
I for me, which is not really a good thing, but being around so much music every day made me never really want to listen to music on my free time. I would just actually for a while stop. I just wouldn't listen to music. I was like, no, I'm listening to podcasts. Like, I can't. People would ask me, like, have you heard that song and that album? And I'm like, no, I haven't. Like, I have not listened to anything else than what I'm singing this week and what I'm singing next week. And, you know, which is, I don't know if that's a good thing, but yeah, I can relate.
I mean, I get it. Like, it for me, because I never had really, like I said, I didn't grow up with a music background. My parents just listened to whatever I listened to. So, like, I didn't grow up with the different varieties of genre. So for me, that was kind of like a gold mine where I could like pick people's brains about the music they were listening to. So for me, it was like the opposite. But you know, it could go either way.
For sure.
Yeah. So what talking about the production side of things, I mean, you kind of touched upon that you had you were working with a female producer. I kind of checked out the page. I know she started with a G and it was a short like
yeah, she goes under the name Jeannie.
Jeannie. Oh gosh. Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. I know her from uni. So I've known her now for soon 3 years. And yeah, we work together now. She's just amazing. You know how some people just kind of know what you mean when you say things, and like they know how you think and what you want.
That's right. And that's the best thing I can ever do.
So I think about it so often. Like, I'm so lucky to have that, because not everyone has that, and she's a huge part of my music for sure. Like, I write it, and I kind of have an arrangement in mind. You know, it wouldn't be unless she would do it. You know, do it. It's such I'm so lucky, and I think it's surrounding yourself with people that you want to work with and that kind of get you is such a huge part of getting, you know, the songs that you want out there for sure. Definitely. Yeah.
So how does that go? Do you have you have this idea and then you kind of try to communicate it to her and she kind of, you know, follows up on that, or is it more a collaborative thing, or how does that look like?
Yeah, so we know each other pretty well. I mean, just this morning, I wrote a song this morning, and I haven't been writing this whole Christmas because I've been with family, and so it felt really good. So I just went straight to WhatsApp on voice messages, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I wrote this song right now, and I've written the chorus, and it's got this kind of vibe, it's got this like feel, and then she's replying to me straight away. She's like, oh my gosh, send it over when you got a demo, and I'm like, yes, I will. So I'll probably send her a demo tomorrow or something, once I get it out. That's kind of how we work. So it's very nice. It's so nice. It's like we can talk about anything, and it's great, and that's how it really should be. It's just amazing. So yeah, it's very friendly. Yeah, it's great. It's nice.
Hold on to that, because it's, for me, it's the hardest thing to find a producer that you kind of connect with on that level, because, you know, making music together is very personal, and if you're not vibing, then
it doesn't work. Work. So we're at the kind of same stage. She's in second year, but we actually went to first year together because she was originally on my course, but then she switched to production, which was really the best thing that she could do, because she's so talented. Like, that's just her lane for sure. She can do anything though. Like, she can play instruments as well. It's really annoying, but like, it's great. But yeah, so it's nice to just find people that kind of want to grow with you, which is what we're doing now, so it's nice.
Double whammy. That I mean, that's definitely hold on to that, because that's really rare. That's all I can say.
I know for sure.
I, like I said in the very beginning, I kind of talked about the lyrics for Fighting For. Again, like I when I listen to a song, I listen to the bass and I listen to the lyrics for some reason.
Cool.
I don't know. That's just where my ears go to. And I loved your lyrics. That was the reason why it kind of drew me in. And I hope I can do justice by reading them out, so people that are listening know what we're going to be talking about. But hopefully I'm not gonna butcher this. Pressure. Yeah, so you're not here and I stare up at the ceiling and get the feeling I'll never be appealing. How will I get there? It's not fair. And sometimes I wish I was another girl with another smile and prettier eyes. And I'm not. No, I'm not. People going places making me feel slow, thinking I'm going crazy. I just need to know. And then my favorite part, that one day I will be sure I know that I know what I'm fighting for.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thank you.
That was some powerful words in there.
Yeah.
How, I mean, I just how? How did you
I
come
mean, how I came up with that for that song, I think it was I had the fighting for in my head. I had the fighting for. I had that weird little thingy. I was like, oh, that's
yeah, I love that.
I was like, that's kind of strange, but I kind of want to make something around that.
Mm-hmm.
So it was pretty straightforward when I wrote the song, and it was easy. Like it was weirdly easy to write because all that is in there is kind of true.
Uh-huh.
I think it's such a normal thing to feel when you're a young adult or any person of any age, really, to scroll Instagram and see everyone doing stuff and promoting stuff. And I remember at that point when I wrote that song, that was about a year ago, I think. And I was so like, I just didn't know where I was gonna go, what's happening. I'm not doing anything, and like I'm doing this degree, but I'm not really doing anything. I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know what's happening. Um, so it came like strangely easily to write that song. But then I know that in 5 or 10 years, I'll be doing something. Like at some point, I'll probably have a better idea of what I'm doing. I hope.
I hope.
That was the idea. Like someday I'll know what I'm fighting for in this endless fight of life, I guess, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it was definitely the chorus that came first, and then but yeah, I probably wrote that song in like an hour. I wrote it in my bed in London. Yeah, and then I sent the demo to Jeannie, and it was great.
Nice. How did you have to rewrite the lyrics at all, or do you just let it out, put it on a piece of paper, and that's it? Or do you actually go back and be like, oh, okay, I can do this, and you go more strategic, melodic route, or how does that look like for you?
Depends. I'm usually the type to just I write it, and that's that. Like that is the song. That's what I was writing when I wrote the song. That's what I was feeling. So I rarely do that. I rarely go back and change. Of course, I've done that when I've been doing cooperation, like with other people, obviously. But if it's just my song, then I usually just stick to what I originally, used. Yeah. I don't know.
No, it's different with I mean, for me, I can't really generalize that because sometimes I just write it and then that's it. Sometimes I go back and I'm like, oh well, it doesn't fit the guitar part I'm trying.
Yeah.
Like sometimes it'll not have that flow, like you have that melody, and then sometimes you have too many words in there, or it's needing like another syllable or something, and then you have to kind of change the lyrics. So that's why.
Yeah, I think
Really
that's
like
true.
melodic inclined, then I thought you might like edit the verses or something, or the chorus to like fit the melody.
Yeah, I mean, I do think, I don't know, it's hard to explain really. I think it definitely depends on the song, and I find myself always like finishing the songs that are the easiest to write for me,
Yeah.
easiest because they just become like they come so naturally, and that's why I don't have to go back and fix the lyrics, and just because it all worked out in some weird way.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Cardiac Surgeon,
Yeah.
which is just a fun song, like no really, very dramatic meaning behind it. It's just wanted like a little bop. And that was also just written in like 15 minutes, just me sitting in this room actually. and just like playing around and just didn't really care in that song. And when I sent it over to my producer as well, and that was that. So yeah, it's kind of the same procedure every time, but yeah.
That's cool that you got a rhythm in there, because like I don't have one. I write songs so differently. I never write the same song the same way. It's really weird. My brain just, I don't know.
Do you write a range of songs and then you send all of it to someone, or do you like do song by song?
I usually I like to have a finished song and then come to them with an idea, because I like in England I probably would have been different when I studied there, because when they're like your friends and people you see on a consistent consistently, then it's different. But if it's like here and I don't really have anyone, then I come up with like the pretty much at least me doing like playing on the guitar and singing the entire song, and then I have like the idea of how I want the production to be. So it's like a finished thing. I don't like send snippets and stuff, but maybe I will in the future once I find, a good pal like you. Then
yeah, it's weird how much you rely on that though. Once you have it, it's just so yeah, I'm counting my blessings.
That's why I'm kind of trying to teach myself like some production. I'm trying, but it's.
Oh, I need to do that too. Like I have to do that, but yeah, I will. I feel like I learn bit by bit though, more and more.
Yeah.
But it's like when you get to the EQ and the mastering, like that's just not.
No, the mastering I will definitely send to someone else and be like, you know what, this is the minute.
Like, someone needs to mix it. I don't know. Like I can arrange. I can arrange stuff.
Yeah.
But I can't do the other technical. At least not now.
That's one thing I will probably not learn.
Yeah.
Because that's a whole new level where I'm like, I know my strengths and I know my weaknesses, and that's definitely one of my weaknesses.
Thing that you know that, because I do too, and yeah, for sure, that's a whole different like lane. Like that's
I mean, it's good to like know where your weaknesses and strengths, and there's nothing wrong with getting help where your weaknesses are, and that's why you have people where you like. I talked with a duo the other week. Their episode just came out on Monday, and he's like, I'm a guitarist, I'm a drummer, I'm a vocalist, I like to do production. So they teamed up, and I'm like,
yeah, I mean that that works. Yeah, for sure.
You don't always have to do everything on your own, but it's whatever you have. That's what I'm saying. Don't just wait. Go and do, and then it will just all fall into place. It'll happen. You'll find the right person, or you find the right producer, or you find someone that can do it for you or with you or whatnot. Like, don't wait just because you think you have a weakness in one area. Or two, doesn't matter.
I mean, I remember the first time I was showing a producer, not the one that I'm working with now, but another producer, like a demo, and I was like terrified. I was like, this is so bad. I was just not. I was being proper like mean to myself, because I'm like, what? When I think about it now, like, what do you expect? Like, I'm not gonna Grammy like single, like, what do you think? Like, and give yourself a break. Like, it's fine. But yeah, I remember that being like terrified first time I was gonna show a demo, because I just didn't feel like I knew what I was doing. But then, he was like, oh, but this is great. I can definitely hear the idea. So I'm like, okay, cool. So yeah, anyone could do it. Definitely.
Yeah, it's cool. If there's one thing that you could do perfectly, like a music related skill, there's one thing you could do, like, you know what, I can do this, no problem, what would that be?
Okay, so if I was to choose what I think my strength is, you mean?
No. If you could wish for a skill, like on anything, from like being like from songwriting up to production to music marketing to business aspects to like anything within music, what would you wish you could do perfectly?
I wish I could be perfectly able to produce like a well-produced song. I think production would be my wish for sure. Being able to get out what I hear in my head.
Uh-huh.
So for
Yeah.
people to listen to, that would be a gift for me. That would be amazing. Yeah.
Like wake up the next morning and you'd be like the best producer ever.
Yeah, I think that's what I would choose for sure. Because then you're so like, oh, the producer has like the power, like the producer is so powerful. I think they can like, oh, I wish that I would definitely choose being a producer. Yeah.
That's a good call, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I don't know. Oh, of course, I could be a better singer as well, but but it's fine.
I mean, you could always say you could always be better at everything, but I mean, yeah, I mean it's true. Like the producer is probably one of the most important people that you'll ever
Yeah.
work
I think
with.
today, the age that we're in today, like the producers are the real like stars right now. I think in a way, like they have so much power, music industry, like just with everything that we listen to. It's crazy because like if you listen to the top charts and the radio, like it's all pretty much the same. But the producers could easily just shift that. It's weird. I don't know. I feel like producers they have a lot of power. That's basically what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, that's definitely changed over the last couple of years, really, where this wave of like producer is kind of like popping up everywhere. And so yeah, production will probably be, that's a really important skill to have.
So one day I'll try. I hope. Yeah.
Like I said, or just team up with someone that's great, or looks like you're off to a good start. Last question before I let you go is, what advice would you give to someone that's just starting out, or little Andrea, like she's just getting into the music stuff?
Yeah.
What advice would you give her?
I think that like the advice that I still try to give myself, because I'm still not very good at it, at doing what I should be doing, is when it comes to overthinking and constantly stressing about your stuff not being good enough. And when you see other musicians or people doing whatever, really, they might be on their chapter 50 in their career, right? While you are like chapter 1. So obviously there's going to be different levels, and that's completely fine. Like that's how it should be, and that's how everyone has started out. So I think like try not to think about the world watching and what they might think and blah blah blah, because that's just you're not gonna end up anywhere if you don't really do anything. And I spent way too much time when I was young, when I was like around like 17, 18, I think. I just wasn't like, I could have done so much more basically, and I could have, maybe I'd be further now if I did that when I was younger. That's it is what it is. But yeah, I think that would be my tip, is to just don't waste time thinking about stuff that has no use, because it's not going to help you in any way, for sure.
That's true. I mean, comparing is, I mean, it's in general like a big thing, but I think musicians do that a lot, especially if you're like at university and you're like around a lot of other very talented musicians. Exactly. And that's exactly the issue that I had, because when I came in, I had no idea about music theory. I was a decent guitar player, but like the guitarists that were there, they were like, they could shred solos and they could just hear things, and I'm just like
in the theory classes, would they do like in the back seat?
Yeah, just playing all these scales and then all these like diminished chords, and I'd be like, all right, I get it. I don't know nothing about music. But I know how to work hard, and that's why I was able to catch up with them, because even though I wasn't as talented, I knew how to work hard, and that's what I did.
Yeah, that worked.
So I say that 80% is hard work, 20% is talent.
Yeah.
Even that. So if you just have the passion, if you're very passionate about music, and if you love anything that's related to music, if it's singing, if it's playing an instrument, if it's writing songs, if it's the production side or the marketing side of music, if you're really passionate about that, that alone qualifies you to do that. Don't sit around and wait for someone to give you permission. Don't wait for a label to come. Don't wait for, someone to validate that.
Yeah.
Get you going.
Yeah, preach. That's so true. Like, yeah, you don't need anyone to tell you, oh, but you're good. You should do that. Like, even for me, like going into education, music.
Yeah.
For me, it's kind of scary because I come from a family who are very academic and, with real jobs and whatever,
Whatever you want to call that, yeah.
But then I was scared when I wanted to do music, but they were so supportive, and of course, like, that's great. And but even without, like, you should just do it no matter why, like, no matter what people say. And I think for me, and it's just I in my, I found that I am my own enemy when it comes to, like, I'm the biggest challenge for me is myself. Mm-hmm. Like, if anyone's gonna stop me, it's gonna be me, no one else, really.
Yeah.
They don't care. You can do whatever. They don't really care. It's you that's yourself.
Yep.
So yeah, that's my biggest, like, thing that I need to work with. It's just to do it. Just do it. Don't think. Just do it.
Amen to that. Yes. Yeah. 100% agree.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time, Andrea. I love talking with you. I just enjoy it. It's very enlightening, and I just love picking other musicians' brains and getting to know them better.
For having this podcast is amazing, and people like me and other people in music, love this because it's a great way to just talk to people, and so thank you for having this. Yeah, it's amazing.
Thanks. Yeah, I just love to geek out about music, so I just find other people that are just as crazy as I am. So thank you. So where can people find you? So obviously everyone check out Andrea's music, Fighting For, and forget Cardiac Surgeon.
Yeah, it's Fun fact.
I can't pronounce that. Sorry.
That title, I'd been watching Grey's Anatomy that day, which hence that title, which is super weird.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the reason.
That explains the tongue twister. Okay, alrighty. But either way, even though I can't pronounce it, it's an awesome song. It's definitely worth your time. And so where can people find you and check you out?
Yeah, so if you just search Andrea, it's basically, so if you search Andrea Fighting For, then you'll find me, because I suspect there's a lot of Andreas out there. So yeah, but on Instagram it's Andrea Kelly Music. So Andrea Ekeli music. That's where you find me, and from there you can get links to other places as well. So that's where I am.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, I'll link everything up as well, so they'll have no trouble finding you at all. So yes, I can testify to that. So, yeah, so put in Andrea Fighting For and it'll pop up right there as well. So yeah, awesome. Well, keep up the good work, because I mean, I'm a fan. I love it, and just keep going. And yeah, thank you so much, and all the best for the future.
Yeah, you too. So much.
Bye. Thank you for listening to the Musician's Secrets podcast. I'm your host, Alise Koa. I hope you got to learn something new about producing or songwriting or mental health when it comes to making music, the fears that most musicians have
when making music. So everything that's behind the scenes, behind making music, you will learn it here, because I am basically talking to anyone that makes music all around the world. So I have a great privilege to learn all of that, and I can't wait to share it with you all. So follow this podcast if you enjoyed what you heard today, and go and share it with somebody that you think could enjoy this episode as well, benefit and learn from it. And as always, there's more information at alisekoa.com/podcast. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Why does it have to be so hard? Why does it have to be so hard? Oh, why does it have to be so hard? Why does it have to be so hard? Be so hard.